Jen, tell me about yourself. What kind of brokerage you work with, how long you've been a realtor, where you're working out of, things like that.
I've been licensed for over 2 years. I've been like around real estate for a long time though. Probably a decade. I did a little bit of everyone's side work in the beginning for some years. I'm with EXP. I love it. I came from a smaller brokerage, wasn't no good. And yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm licensed in Georgia and Alabama. I have a unique location that's right on the border. Makes it interesting.
Gotcha. And how are you currently generating new business?
Damon. No, I mean, I stick with like referrals, sphere of influence. I mean, I've done some lead programs before, but I haven't really. I mean, I've generated my own Facebook leads,
Gotcha.
stuff like that.
Yeah. And how would you describe like how we came together and your thoughts around that whole situation?
So, you just kind of fell out of the sky, but I was like, well, what do I got to lose? So, I mean, and I just gave it a shot. I mean, I have good intuition, so I just felt like the energy was aligned for me and you. I mean, it seemed really strange because who wants to help you for free?
Yeah.
But
and what were your expectations kind of leading off of that coming into the service?
none, not for real.
And then how does that compare with...
I guess it was just hopeful.
Yeah. But not really expecting a whole lot.
No.
And then how does that compare with like the results that you've gotten so far?
I'm really impressed. I mean, you have way better luck with them than I do, even now. But so I think people really like you. You're good with talking to people and keeping them engaged, and that's pretty impressive. That's a good quality to have. Not a lot of people can talk over the phone and deal with all the hang-ups and stuff like that. But my feedback I've gotten actually from people that you have contacted has been really good. They like Damon.
That's great. How would you say that this source of lead, like how would you say what I do compares to other lead sources that you've worked with? How is it different? How is it like? What is this service like compared to those other lead sources?
Oh, when you actually send me a lead to contact, they're not all like no answer. I mean, I've had conversations with several of the people that you've sent me, which is not common.
Yeah, I get that.
Usually, like, they might talk to you and then they don't want to talk to no one else again. You might have caught them at a good time, but I've had some good feedback. I mean, I know it's going to take some time to nurture them, but I've had some appointments. I got a couple coming up like this weekend to meet with them. So that's real positive.
Yeah. What would you say like the timeline is on some of those too? And when you get another lead, this is just like a genuine question. When you get a lead from like a Zillow or a Realtor.com or something like that, how would their like the timeline of that kind of lead compare to some of these like Facebook leads that I've sent to you?
Well, I think the big difference is with Realtor.com and Zillow, like people aren't even talking to them. Like it's just like a click. You know what I mean? So a lot of that's just trash because people, oh, I accidentally clicked it, or oh, is this for rent? Or no one actually talks to them. With you actually talk to them. So if that came up, you're not wasting my time with it, right? You're filtering those people out. You'll be like, oh, okay, you're not gonna pass that on to me.
Yeah, right. And if I do, I at least let you know that this isn't gonna.
Right. It's like you'll be like, hey, you can call them if you want to.
Yeah.
I like the feedback that you give me about the conversations that you have. I like the software that you use, or I don't know, like what's it called?
The CRM.
The CRM.
Yeah.
Not a tech person, as you can tell.
How have you had luck?
But that's why you came along.
Right. Have you looked around in there a lot? Like, have you checked out that CRM and?
I mean, there's a lot to it. So, like, for me personally, I only look at what I need to know with that type of stuff because it overwhelms me.
Yeah. And how much have you needed?
So, and that's why, but I do like that you know that about me. So you'll like text me instead or show me how to actually use the app.
Yeah. How much have you had to use it? I think like the notes part is kind of like almost a necessity, but I can still like send those every now and then. But how much have you
Yeah,
like needed to use the CRM, and how much work have you needed to do in general?
none.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's just like a reference, like uh, of what's going on, what you've actually been doing. You know what I mean? Where the ad spend's going and the communication that you have. And there's a breakdown of every conversation.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. And if there was a realtor who's on the fence about this, what would you say to them about trying this service?
I would definitely recommend it. I don't want you to get too busy though. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't want to take away
No,
from
I
your.
highly recommend it. Like I said, what do you have to lose? Like he's obvious. He's real. It's not a scam or nothing. Like I think that's going to be people's biggest concern. But because you're giving somebody access to your social media and stuff like that. But he's very honest and there's no weird stuff. So I would definitely recommend it. I mean, especially if you're like me and not really good at making the calls. You know what I mean? Because some people are just a little bit more timid with that, or I don't know. There's better call it. I don't know.
Like when it comes to following up with leads and like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, and when we're calling people like 3 times, like we got like 100 people in the span of like 2 weeks, and we're calling them like 3 times. So it's not like you can't really like slack off for a day and then just kind of pick it back up, I guess. And
Yeah. You have to keep in touch. So, I mean, I think it's really been helpful. I'm excited to see how it progresses when the fruit ripens.
Yeah. That's kind of another question. How do you see like, do you see this being like a long-term service that like is this actually a useful source like going forward in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, it hasn't been long enough for me to say for sure, but I definitely think the way that you know how to mess with the algorithms and stuff, like you've gotten some of my personal contact people to actually reach out to me, and that's huge. I mean, they see me already. I mean, you've kind of pushed them into my pipeline in a sense. So that's exciting for me. Like Kugish is finally back in town, and I think he wants to go look this weekend. There's a couple of them. So I'm meeting with a first-time home buyer on Saturday.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And that's all because of you and this service, not because of anything I did, except for pay for the ad and follow up, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I can't do the closing the transaction part. I wouldn't even know how to, but glad I passed that off. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Because that's kind of all questions that I've got.
I mean, like I already said, if you're thinking about it, I recommend this service, and Damon's really awesome. So I think you're lucky if he reached out to you, to be honest. So